The question is, can we in the West understand India? And I think this is very, very difficult for people in the West to understand India. Especially those of us that come from the imperial West. Because we have a many centuries old habit of assuming the authority to represent another culture, to represent the knowledge of another culture. And we have created our own categories, our ways of understanding the world. So what we have to do is we have to take the information we get from another culture and put it into our carefully constructed categories. This already changes the culture that we're looking at dramatically, and makes it look more like the flip side of our own culture. And this is really what we attempt to do, where we assign an otherness to another culture. That where, for example, we are rational, the other culture is irrational. Where we are dispassionate, the other culture is passionate. Where we are democratic, the other culture is despotic. You see? Where we believe in science, another culture believes in voodoo. So, the way that we attempt to understand another culture is by putting it into our own cultural categories, and it distorts the other culture. And we can never know the other culture in that way. This has been something for me that I've spent my life struggling with. Struggling to see India and see Indian culture in a way where it's not a construction of an imperial Westerner from America. I've had to try and understand what are those techniques that we use in the West to represent another culture. Especially, what are those techniques that an imperial nation uses to represent another culture, so I could subtract that from my perception of that culture. Oh no, Narayan. So it's very difficult for us from the West to objectively see a culture like India. Now, that being said, our perception of India, our construction of India, our imagination of India also changes India itself. And it has an influence in the change of India. And this is because India is not an imperial culture. It's a colonized culture rather than one that did the colonizing, an imperial culture.